Alright class, I tried to add some music to the background of this. If you hear music, that means I succeeded. If you don't, then I utterly failed, and I apologize. Today, we are doing systems of linear equations and matrices. So yesterday, we solved by hand. Today, we're going to use the calculator, so this will make calculations a lot faster. Now, there are some situations that you have to recognize, though. If the system has no solution, we'll say it's inconsistent. And then if it is dependent, which means that it's dependent, it's basically infinitely many solutions, but it doesn't mean you can pick any solution, and I'll talk about that in a second. If it's dependent, express it in terms of the other variables, then give one possible solution. So before we do anything, here's what you're going to do in your calculator. We're going to use reduced row echelon form, and all you do is type in the coefficients and then the answer. So 3, 3, and then I put a line just so you know that this side is 3, but you don't really do anything with that. It's really for excuse me, reduced row echelon form. Okay? Now, I'm going to set all these up real quick for you. So all of these are going to kind of follow the same pattern. We're going to RREF, and then we put these numbers down. 3, -1, 9, -3. So in order for this to work, you need it to be in the correct order. So if it's mixed up, you have to move things around. Excuse me, man. And then make it work. So I'm going to go through all 6 of these real quick. Yeah, there's 6 of them. So that's what you should write. Let's keep writing these. So RREF. And then I'm going to do one on the calculator step by step. And then I'm going to pause and kind of just show you what all the answers are and mean. I'm not going to go through all the calculator typing in because that just takes too long. And you guys should know how to type into your calculator. You can do this with 3 letters, or 3 variables. So now we have 4 rows and 3 columns. Sorry, 3 rows and 4 columns. So 1, -2, 3 and 7, 2, 1, 1, 4, -3, 2, -2, and 10. So that should be what that one looks like. Excuse me. And then finally, this is the tricky one because you have to notice that there are x, y's, and z's. So it is going to still be the same size. You have to worry about x's, y's, and z's. So there's 2x, 1y, 0z, -4. 0x, -2y, 4z, 0. 3x, 0y, -2z, and -11. And finally, you come over here, and I do RREF, so reduced row echelon form of this system 1, 2, 1, 0, 3, 2, -1, and 4. Put a line here. And then -x, -1 I should write. Sorry, got ahead of myself there. -1, 2, 3, and -4. Okay, so now that I have all those written out, and hopefully you guys understand how to do that, you're just putting x, y number or x, y, z number. Okay? Let's go back to the first one, and let's have our calculators out. So if you don't have your calculator out, pause it and get your calculator out. If you don't have your calculator, kind of just watch and see what happens. So, for this first one here, I want to put that into a matrix, a 2 by 3 matrix. So I go to my calculator, I hit second inverse, because that's where the matrix menu is. It's right above the x squared menu. And then I want to go over to edit. So you're going to go over to edit. I guess I didn't go over enough. Okay. And I want to edit A. And I want to do a 2 by 3. So my numbers were 3, 3, 3, 4, 2, 8/3. So I'm going to type in 3, enter, 3, enter, 3, enter, 4, 2, 8 divided by 3. And hit enter. I think I did that right. Yeah, it is. Okay. So your matrix should look like this. Again, you had to go to second matrix to open this up. And you get this. Once you have this, you can just hit second mode to get out of here. Make sure you hit enter though on the last one so it's saved there. Alright, now when you're at the home screen, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to, again, the same menu, second inverse, the matrix menu. But we're going to go over to math now because we want to actually do the reduced row echelon form. So you're going to scroll down in the math column, and we want letter B, RREF, reduced row echelon form. You hit enter, it should look like RREF parentheses, and now you go to your matrix menu again. And this time instead of edit you want A, so you just stay on names and we're going to take A. So I'm RREFing matrix A, which is all the numbers I put in. So this will basically do the calculation for you, and this is what you get. Now, those decimals hopefully you recognize as fractions, but let's say you don't. You can math frac your answer just like you can with any answer. Alright, so this is what we get. So I'm going to explain what this means in a second. So let's write this on our paper now. So I get 1, 0, and then it was 1/3, and then 0, 1, 2/3. What this means is that 1x plus 0y equals 1/3, and 0x plus 1y equals 2/3, which basically tells you that x equals 1/3 and y equals 2/3. So that's your solution to the matrix and solution to your system. So my answer is 1/3, 2/3. Okay, so that is how you do reduced row echelon form. Now, I'm not going to go through every calculation again. Actually, let me do 1 3x3. Let me go down to number 4 here. I'm going to do this one right here to just show you how that changes. I'm going to go to my calculator and enter these numbers again. Same thing, you go to second matrix, go over to edit. This time you're doing a 3 by a 4, and now you have to enter the numbers, which I don't have with me. 1 -237, 1 237, 2114. And I actually will show you a little trick after this too. -3 to -210. -3 to -210. Okay, now I have, oh, and enter. Make sure you enter after the last one. Again, to get back to the home screen, just hit second mode right next to it. Now here's what's great. If you have an older calculator, you can do it this way. Hit second enter. I don't want that. Hit second enter again, and it brings back the command we did 2 times ago. But now this time my A is different, so if I just hit enter now, it'll give me the new answer. And then I can math frac it. So I didn't have to go in and do the whole like find RREF again and then find A, because I already did it once, so I can just use it again. And then you get this. And this kind of means the same thing. 1x equals -14/3. 1y equals 17/3. Z equals 23/3. So that's our solution to the matrix. So I have, let me just write that out. 1, 0, 0, and then it was -14/3. 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. And we get the answers 17 and 23/3. Okay, so we get the solution is that x, y, z is -14/3, 17/3, and then 23/3. X is -14/3, 17/3. Alright, so that's how easy this is though. It's actually really nice and fast, so if you don't like systems, you could always do this on your ACT. On your SAT, you have to solve them by hand if it's in the non-calculator, obviously. But alright, so now what I'm going to do is write down the other answers real quick. I'm going to pause the screen and I'll have the answers written down for you. Hold on one sec. Okay, so I have the other answers written down. Now, again, you can pause the video and get them yourselves. I want you guys to try to get what I have here. So if you look at number 2 now, I have written down that you end up with something that looks like this when you do RREF of this matrix. You get 1, -1/3, 7/3, and then you get 0, 0, 0. That's our 0 equals 0 scenario. And if you remember correctly, that used to be all or infinitely many solutions. Now, it still is that, but we say it's dependent. And what is it dependent on? It's dependent on y. So here's what we have. We have x minus 1/3 y equals 7/3. So all we want to do is solve for x in terms of y. So that's from the, by the way, this is this equation right here. 1x minus 1/3 y equals 7/3. So now what I can do is say, well, x equals 7/3 plus 1/3 y. Okay? So what that means is I have the solution set that, well, x is going to be this here, and then this is dependent on the letter y. So even though we say infinitely many solutions, you can't just say the answer 0, 0 works, because it doesn't. 0, 0 does not work on this this equation, because if you do 0, 0, you get 7 and 21. That doesn't equal. So there are infinitely many solutions, but that follow this pattern. So then to get one possible solution, just pick a number for y. I'm going to say y equals 0. So when y equals 0, we get this goes to 0, we get 7/3 for x, and then 0 for y. So this is one possible solution. And this is our solution with the dependent variable in there. Okay? So basically get down to this, where you solve the top equation for x in terms of y, and then the second variable is just y, the one that has all the zeros. You just put the letter there. And then pick numbers for y. You could have picked 1. If you picked 1, it would have been 7/3 plus 1/3, 8/3. So you'd have 8/3 comma 1 is another solution. Okay. Again, pause the video if you want to try the other ones, RREFing on your calculator. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the answers here. So for this one down here, number 4, you get this right here. 1, negative 3/2, 0, 0, 0, 1. Now, if you look down here, this is 0 equal to 1. That is inconsistent. There's no letter that equals, you can't have 0 equal 1. That's basically our old no solution. Okay? So you can't do anything else there. So that's number 4. Number 5, I have to hurry now. I realize my video is kind of long. Okay. Number 5 and 6, you can write these two things down. This one's a straightforward x equals negative 3, y equals 2, z equals 1. So our answer is negative 3, 2, 1. Here is like number 2. We all of a sudden have 0 equals 0, except for with 3 by 3. So we have, it's dependent, and it's dependent on z, which means z is going to be the last letter. So we're going to solve x and y. So the first equation becomes x minus z equals 2. So x equals z plus 2. So that's our first equation. The second equation is y plus z equals negative 1. Y equals negative z minus 1. There's our second equation. So that means that our answer is that x is z plus 2, y is negative z minus 1, and that means this whole thing is dependent on z. So that is our solution. And again, to pick one possible, just pick something for z. I like picking the letter to be 0, so z equals 0. So if you plug 0 in to all three of these, you get 0 plus 2 is 2, 0 minus 1 is negative 1, and 0. This would be one possible solution. Okay, hopefully there was music playing in the background for this. I apologize if there wasn't. I'm trying to see if that works or not. And have a great weekend, everyone. I hope everyone had a good class period, and hopefully you guys understood this. And if not, we'll fix it on Monday.